Hi, this is going to be a short video about how to write a 5-paragraph essay for history classes. Now, history essays, of course, are going to be somewhat different than the essays you've written for English classes and really any of your other classes. An essay for a history class needs to have lots of specific, verifiable facts. Yes, you can make an assertion that is your opinion, but it has to be backed up with specific facts. You can't just say, George Washington was a great man. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Even if I agree with you that he's a great man, you're going to have to back that up with specific facts. Like, he chose not to be made king because he didn't want another monarchy in the United States. He chose to leave office after 2 terms because he didn't want future presidents to have a lifetime appointment. So those are specific facts. Even if I think that George Washington is a terrible person, those specific facts are not things I can argue with. That's what a history essay needs. And one of the other challenges is getting all the facts organized into some kind of coherent structure. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I will share this little outline with you just as a way to help organize those thoughts. So let's take a look. Let's do a fun question like the quintessential American food is pizza. Okay, you could argue that it's something else, that it's apple pie, that it's cheeseburgers. But for this essay, let's say we're going to prove using specific verifiable facts that the quintessential great American food is pizza. So we're doing this outline as if we were writing a 5-paragraph essay. Lots of 5-paragraph essays. This is a very useful skill, and it means that you have a short essay. It's going to be maybe 1.5 to 2 pages. You don't need to tell me everything there is to know about pizza. You also do not have enough time to get off on other topics like why apple pie is not the great American food. No, keep the focus specifically on the question. Do not tell me about how pizza is also popular in Italy. Just tell me about why pizza is the greatest American food. So, I guess I should have written the question. Oops, not following the directions here. Bad example. Don't be like me. What is the greatest American food? Okay, so your answer is the thesis, the answer to the question. The quintessential American food is pizza. Another way to think of your first paragraph is I believe A because of 1, 2, and 3. So I believe that the quintessential American food is pizza because now these are going to be your 3 main points. You're going to have a paragraph about each one of them, and you need 3 specific supporting facts for each of those 3 main points. So pizza is popular. Okay. Pizza is everywhere in the US. And US pizza is unique. So point number 1 is going to be the topic of paragraph 2. Your first paragraph is just going to be your thesis and your 3 main points. You should have a clear and specific thesis. If, let us imagine, somehow your teacher dropped the stack of essays and they fell everywhere, your teacher should be able to look at, okay, this is clearly the thesis that goes with this essay. That's how specific your thesis should be. There are many great American foods, not a specific thesis. I know some of your English professors might have told you to repeat the question in your own words in the first paragraph. I don't really want you to do that. I want you to just tell me the answer. I know what the question is. Tell me what your answer is. And don't do an implied thesis. Don't do like you might in a persuasive paper where you save your thesis till the end. I want you to put your thesis right up at the beginning, and I want it to be very specific. And go ahead in that first paragraph and tell me what your 3 main points are going to be. Remember, I believe A because of 1, 2, and 3. I believe the greatest American food is pizza because it is popular, it is everywhere in the US, and US pizza is unique. So point number 1 is going to be the topic of paragraph 2. So point number 1 is the popularity of pizza. This would be something that would be super easy to look up specific facts. How many pizzas sold daily? I don't even know, but that would be a specific fact. How many dollars made on pizza yearly? How many people ate pizza last week? Those are all specific facts. Even if I hate pizza, I cannot argue with specific facts like how many people in the US ate pizza last week. Clear and specific facts. So of course, point number 2, pizza is everywhere in the US. Ubiquitous is a fancy word for, it means it's everywhere. I can't spell, but so pizza's everywhere in the US. Specific facts should be something like number of pizza restaurants in the US. Another specific fact would be no state without pizza restaurants. And another specific fact that shows that pizza is everywhere could be, I don't know, the number of pizza places in Bloomington, where we are now. Even if I hate pizza, can't argue with those facts. Point 3, US pizza is unique, is going to be the topic of paragraph 4. So, you can talk about US pizza invented in this year and place. You'd have to look this up. Actually, I'm a food historian. I know that this is a disputed question, but you could find a credible source that tells you, okay, US style pizza was invented in, one of the arguments is that it was invented in New York City and that it developed into American pizza right after World War II. You could talk about Chicago style pizza is different than Italian style. Then you could talk about New York style pizza is different than Italian style. So you're saying that US pizza is unique, it's different than Italian pizza. This is one of the things that makes it a quintessentially American food. Notice there's no place in here for talking about, you know, burgers, pie, anything like that. You have to keep the focus on the question. Now your conclusion, you're going to restate your thesis again. Make it super obvious, super clear. State it in new words, like, let's see, what did we have up above? We had the quintessential American food is pizza. Restate in new words. Pizza is the greatest American food. Now, you're going to repeat your 3 main points. I know this seems repetitive, but you want it to be super clear, super obvious to anybody reading your paper that you have your thoughts clear and organized and you know where you're going with them. That these thoughts all come together, these specific facts knit together into a coherent whole to make a clear and specific main point. So you're going to repeat in new words, and I would just do it in the same order. Pizza in the US is extremely popular. Pizza in the US is everywhere, and US pizza is unique in the world. Have you ever, like in a communication or speech class, been told when you give a speech, you tell them what you're going to say, you tell them what you came to say, and then you tell them what you just told them? That's kind of what you're doing in this essay. It seems a little repetitive, but this helps make it super clear and obvious. And you want it to be incredibly clear and obvious. Even if your teacher is, I don't know, grading these at 2 in the morning, not that I would ever do that. You want it to be super clear and obvious that you have your stuff together. You have your facts lined up A list of facts is not an essay. This is sometimes a problem when the student knows a lot about a subject. Like maybe the student is a Civil War buff and they just want to cram everything they know about the Civil War into a long list of facts. That is not an essay. Sometimes when you're not sure, yes, there's a typo there, that's bothering me. Sometimes when you're not sure what you want to write about, you might start with a list of facts, but then you have to take that list of facts, get them organized, put them into chunks by category, like how many pizzas are sold, how you can find pizza everywhere, sort those facts, figure out 3 categories to put them into, then write your paper. You can't just have a list of facts. That's not an essay. And another thing to make sure that you're doing is make sure your thesis matches your paper. Sometimes you start writing and you kind of get off topic. You either need to revise your thesis or revise your paper. When I am grading your papers, I'm going to look for 4 things. One of them is, does it have a clear and specific thesis? So it has to have a clearly stated main point. The next thing is, does it have clear, specific, verifiable facts? Bob Dylan was cool, not a specific fact. Bob Dylan sold X number of records in this year, clear fact. Even if I hate him, I can't argue with the fact. Then, are those facts organized? That's where the 5-paragraph essay comes in. Now, if you have, later on in the class when you're really good at the essays, if you want to have 4 paragraphs or 6 paragraphs, that's probably okay. But these first few essays, just make it a 5-paragraph essay. Just go with the simple basic structure. Knowing how to write a 5-paragraph essay is not just useful for this class, it's going to help you in other classes. And, if you have a job that you think, oh, this is totally unrelated to history, I don't need to know this. You want to be a scientist and you're writing a memo for your boss, like a 2-page memo about why your team needs more funding. 5-paragraph essay is going to come in pretty handy. So, clear and specific thesis, clear and specific facts. Those facts are organized. And the last thing I'm looking for. Don't laugh. It seems obvious, but don't laugh. The 4th point is, does it answer the question? Now, this doesn't go without saying, especially if the question is like asking you to compare 2 different things. A lot of essay questions ask you to compare and contrast. Compare and contrast the government systems of Greece and Sparta. Well, Athens, Greece, and Sparta. So if you're comparing Athens and you never get around to talking about Sparta, you didn't answer the whole question. You're not going to get an A. You might get 50%. Or if the question asked you about, in our imaginary example, what is the greatest American food? And you spent all this time talking about how poutine is the greatest Canadian food. Okay, poutine is pretty awesome, but it is not an American food. It is off topic. Don't do that. This is a short essay. You don't have time to get off topic. You need to keep the focus there, and you need to answer the question asked and all parts of the question. If I asked you about how World War II impacted the US economy, don't start talking about what cool weapons we had and how many Nazis we killed. That's not the economy. Focus on the question. Answer the question that was asked, not the question that you wish was asked. This problem of not answering the question tends to come up more on tests, on the midterm and the final, and I think it's because people are nervous. So they're not as clear in their thoughts, they're not as careful in their reading as they should be. So this is how you write an essay for a history class. I hope this video was helpful, and of course, you can call me or email me if you have questions. Much better to call or email me than to do a bad job. Oh, and by the way, don't try to do that thing that some students do where they start writing the essay and figure out their thesis later. We can tell when you did that, and it shows. Yeah, you don't have time to wander around and figure out your thesis halfway through your paper. Your paper is only going to be 1.5 to 2 pages. You don't have time to mess around. Also, please write your outline before you write your essay, because then your essay will be better. Even if you're not required to hand in your outline, I suggest you scribble a few notes on a piece of scrap paper before you write your essay. It will be a better essay, really. We can tell when you try to do it without figuring out what you're doing first, without planning, without having an outline, yeah, we can tell. So please just do the outline. It's better for all concerned. Thank you and good luck on your essays. And of course, let me know if you have questions. And good luck with the essays. You can do it. This is a short paper. You can do it. Don't panic.